During the examination, I went really back through time. I started off by examining the Big Bang, and I worked from that point forward all the way through to where we are now today, under the first examination of looking at the universe at least. And then I concentrated on the dark matter, trying to reveal the existence of the dark matter. And then once I'd found the dark matter and understood what the framework of dark matter was, I then knew exactly how to treat the rest of the examination in creation. I knew how to manipulate, let's say, the existence of space, and then I understood the framework of time and how time worked. I noticed that during the examination, the first examination, from the Big Bang, coming from that point through time to where I am in my realm of time, there were several processes of thinking that basically changed as I came closer and closer and closer and closer to my time. There was so much understanding when it came to the birth of light from energy, and then the passage of time all the way through to where I was sitting and looking at and examining. So, because there was that time period of thinking of all the different ages, all the ages and the different stages that happened in the ages of this period, all the way through to where we are now. And then there's me, my flesh, my body, everything about me was basically put together during these first stages of the existence of the Big Bang, and all of the stages of evolution, all the evolutionary stages and all the chemistry of the evolutionary chemistry changes all the way through to me. So first off, the examination really was the examination of my very own body, really. And I'd been looking at and wondering when I was a child, putting your hands whilst laying on the grass in the air, and you look at it and you silhouette it against the sky, and you close your fist and open your fist, and you marvel sometimes at the possibility of how did that come together? How did such a useful part of my body become the way that it has become? And I would go through this when I was a kid. All these processes of wondering why and how, and then finally managed to get to the examination of the universe. And after going through lots of education of chemistry and lots of education of biological and molecular structures and new materials and biological new materials and molecular structures of all these things, and you get to find out all kinds of inner space. And of course dark matter is there too. It's in the inner space of all the molecular, and you can't rule it out. You can't rule out the reason why it's there. You can't rule out the fact that you can ignore it either. You can't do that. When I finally got out into the universe, and I was looking at the star structures and looking at the rest of the matter that was all around the place in the universe. You get to understand, once you've been a molecular examiner, that it's pretty much the same. You have stars of billions, and you have radiational pathways, and you have full solids, and you have non-solids, and you've got things that behave like matter, that's energy, and you've got all sorts of other strange things. But like in the molecular, you can't ignore the fact that dark matter is dark matter. And because you can't ignore the fact that dark matter is dark matter, it means that understanding the evolution and the growth of evolution from the Big Bang all the way through to where we are now, where we are literally now. All of it became the driving force, really, the driving force of, or even the hunger to find out how things all started, how they all began, how everything began. So I started a process of quantum, and this was a process of mental quantum management of going backwards in time. The second examination went from the Big Bang and backwards in time. Instead of coming forwards to where I was, I started to go backwards in time. And that's where the quantum thought process took over, to go further back. So once I'd understood the balance and the order of creational mix, I then needed to go further back. So we went from the Big Bang. So the second examination went through a process that started from me, went all the way forward, away from me, which was going backwards in time this time, all the way to where I started. And I was checking all the work and checking what I'd done and checking what I'd examined, going the opposite direction as I was leaving towards the Big Bang. Once I got to the Big Bang and I checked all my work and all my work had been completed and done, I then started a process of going even further back in time. And then you get to the ups and the downs, and you get to the smaller parts, really tiny small parts of creation, and it all starts to come apart. The whole of creation starts to come apart, and then you get to a place of a stage where there was a new realm of zero matter, and a new realm of very little energies, and it's a realm which was only found purely by taking creation apart. As you go through time backwards, you have to take creation apart as you actually go backwards through time, until eventually you get to a point where you're using all your chemistry and you're using all your mathematical principles and you're using every single thing that you've got of your understanding, and you are removing it. You're removing all of it, you're just removing it all, until eventually you get to a place where you find the void, and you know the void exists. You then go even further back from the void, and because of my understanding of dark matter and how doubt matters.